Hey everyone, and welcome to a brand new series here on the channel. This time, we are located in Ray County, Missouri, and as you can see, we are going to be working a dairy farm. So, this is a family-owned dairy farm with around 400 or so head of dairy cattle, and today, you guys are going to get to ride along and check out the operation here on the farm, and you guys are also going to get to see some work that we do here to prepare for the fall, because it is creeping up on us here. So let's go ahead and get right into this one. Alright, so now that intro's out of the way, I think it'd be a good idea to show you guys around the farm a little bit before we, get into some work. And like I did say in the intro, this is a brand new series here on the channel, and we are running a dairy farm in Ray County, Missouri. This is a very, very good looking farm, and I've lived on it my entire life, and I think it's time we show you guys around a little bit. I did think about taking the side-by-side down here, but I figured a little exercise wouldn't hurt anybody. And I guess we're just going to start down here at this side of the farm. We've got the backyard to the house. We've got my shelter behind the house over there with some of my older trucks and projects I'm working on, like that boat restoration. And then we've got the pasture right here. We let the cattle in and out of this pasture so they can, have some room to free range and eat out of the pasture. And then it ties directly into this barn right here, which I guess I just kind of consider like a fattening quarter. We put them in here just to feed them and so they can have their calves, and then we'll send them into the free stall to be milked. But right now they're separated. We've got the gates closed, and if you're wondering why there's two gates here, well, it's because the last one that was just wooden, they absolutely slammed through. And we are debating on putting up a second gate on this side, because if they bust through that gate, well, they're right into the farmyard. So yep, there's the first part of the cattle right here. Part 2 will be at the free stall, but we'll check into this shed real fast. We usually call this shed the haying shed, and I'm pretty sure you can see why. We've got our haying rig right here, which we're actually going to be using in this video because we have some alfalfa that's ready to get off, but we'll get that out of the field in a little bit. I'll explain that a little more in the future. We've got our straw blower for the free stall to give the cattle some bedding. Then we've also got this John Deere round baler, which is very new to the farm. This is the first year we're using one of these. It's a new gen round baler, and it's a silage special, so it's a really slick round baler. Then over here in the corner, we've got this Anderson merger. We used to run rakes on the farm, like the big Kubota rakes that fold down. Not exactly sure the name of them, but we used to have two of those on the farm, and we sold them for a bigger merger. And we've had this thing for a few years, and it works exactly like we want to, and I think a little better than the rakes even so. And also when we're chopping haylage, it works a whole lot better, and there's hardly any left behind on the ground with the merger. And I feel like yield wise, especially with alfalfa, it keeps a lot of the flowers and the heads on there, so it definitely increases some feed quality, just a little bit maybe. So I think the merger was definitely a better choice for the farm. Then right here we've got our John Deere 8110 loader tractor, one of the most used tractors on the farm. This tractor does just about anything and everything you want it to do, and it's an awesome tractor. But sitting right next to it, we've also got the 8910 Boxcar Magnum two-wheel drive. This tractor is also slick. Two very nice workhorse tractors right here. We've had them on the farm for a while, and they do just about everything you want them to, and they do it great. And then besides all the junk sitting in here, I guess this is everything in this shed. We usually have some more stuff in here, but we've just been moving everything around and whatnot, so it's a little emptier than it should be. But that's shed 1, and the cattle situation over here, which I'll touch on in a little bit. But as we make our way around the farm past the diesel tank over here, we've got this area where the yard kind of opens up, and we've got the trail into here where it kind of separates, and then we've got our biggest barn right here with the most jam-packed stuff in it, which we'll start in this door right here. So this is our biggest machine hall, and right here on the concrete is where we do most of our equipment repairing, which right now you can see we've got this Case cultivator or I guess it's really well, it says Case and International, but I'm pretty sure it's an International cultivator, and we're putting new shovels on it for fall tillage here in just a few weeks. We've just about got it finished up, so we need to take it out of the shop, but we've just got it parked in here for right now. And then we've got our four-wheel drive articulated 8650 John Deere with this blade on the front, which it's not exactly for clearing snow. I'll touch base on that in just a little bit, but it is for the silage bunk, so you'll see more of that in a future video. But yeah, this is I believe our biggest tractor on the farm horsepower wise. It's mainly a pulling tractor, so we'll pull the cultivator, some tillage pieces with it. Very rarely do we do any planting or anything like that with it, because it's really just for the bigger horsepower jobs. But we have put on the slurry tanker before and whatnot. It's a very nice older tractor. It's one of the coolest looking on the farm in my opinion. Then over here we've got our cleaning station and the kind of like out of the way area of the shed. We've also got our farm skid steer, a 773 tracked Bobcat. I do in fact love this skid steer. Now we've been hauling pallets around with it recently, so that's why I've got the forks on it, because we traded out all the old seed and fertilizer pallets that were on this wreck, and we're going to be buying some new ones in the spring. So we just kind of did some shop cleaning out. We got to bring our new toolboxes and everything in here. We did have them over here next to the wall, but we cleaned everything out as soon as we got done working on the cultivator. Well, I mean, I guess it's not exactly done, but we cleaned the shop out a little bit, so that's why it's looking a little empty in here. But we've also got our gooseneck in here, and I really could not tell you how this was put in here, but yeah, we haul hay out of the field with this. We have a little part that we mount right here so we can get a full trailer load. And then sitting next to the gooseneck, we have this absolute behemoth of a forage harvester, which once again is another fairly new addition to the farm. We have this 20-something foot head for the front of it, so we do a lot of green chopping for silage. We also do a lot of haylage, which is what this head is for right here. And so we upgraded our forage harvester just about 2 years ago, so this is a fairly new piece. We've only run it 1 year, and it was the year before last, so it's going to be time to break this sucker out soon. And let me tell you, I am super excited to run it. It's got duals in the front, floaters in the back, and it is one hefty machine. And then sitting next to the haylage pickup head, we've got this Kinsey 8-row planter, which we do all of our corn planting with and some of our soybean planting, because we do a little cash crop on the farm. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. And we are thinking about upgrading our planter to a 12-row, but it's still up in the air because this planter has worked super great for us for many years. But then we've got the John Deere drill. Pretty sure this is a 1590. Usually we do our soybean drilling with this, and we do all of our grass and alfalfa seeding and oats and rye, everything else we do with this right here. And it works like a dream. It's one of my favorite drills ever, and we've run many drills on this farm, and none of them have ever compared to this sucker, and I absolutely love it. Then we've got this AGCO Alice 9775. Again, just another big, beefy four-wheel drive tractor that does just about anything you can task it with. This one does the planting and usually a lot of the manure spreading, so it's kind of an in and out job tractor. It does some of the random jobs. That's the word I was looking for. Then we've got our combine, John Deere 9600. We use this thing to get corn off the field and some beans, but usually corn so that we can grind sweet feed for the cattle, or put corn in the bins to sell it off. Because like I said, we do a little cash cropping around here. And speaking of corn, we do have this corn head right here, and we did have an earlage head somewhere around here for the forage harvester, but I'm pretty sure we ended up selling that off. But then as we make our way out of this big machine haul, you can see it's got 2 doors on the side. It's a very fancy shed. We've got our soybean and grain head right here, sitting on the head trailer out next to the fence. And then we've also got our bottom hopper and our semi truck sitting right here. Can't actually tell you why it's pulled over here. Usually stick it in the shed if we have room, but it is out right now, so take a look at it. It's a pretty nice day cab. It's a Volvo. I really like this truck. And then this hopper bottom it's probably as old as I am, so yeah, 2 very nice pieces. Then we'll walk around the farm this way. As you can see, we've got our bin set up out here, just 3 little bins. Well, I don't know if I should say little, decent sized bins, but they're nothing crazy big. We've also got our unload auger, which is set up because we were selling off some of our corn this summer. And we've also got this behemoth loading auger. This is also a fairly new piece of machinery on the farm, and we absolutely love this thing. And then sitting out here, we've got this very rusty and I want to call it piece of crap John Deere tillage piece. We have broken so many springs on this. If I had $1 for every spring we broke on this, I'd be a millionaire, let me tell you. But it does our deep tillage like we need it to. I hate running it. And we are also thinking about upgrading this piece as well. So we'll make our way to the back of the farm. Over here we've got our hay shed, which is slap empty right now, and we've got our feeding set up and also our cattle trailer, just so we can sell off calves, move cattle, you know, that sort of thing, and everything else you'd imagine a cattle trailer for. Who am I kidding? But we've got our International 1086, sorry. It's an open station tractor. It used to do a lot of the raking and mowing on the farm, till obviously we upgraded everything. But this is, I think, our oldest tractor on the farm. I could be mistaken. And after a few too many restoration projects and new paint jobs, here it is today on the feed mixer, which is also a very solid piece. So, but then out here behind the hay shed, we've got 2 of our forage boxes. We have 4 of them, as you can see. The other 2 are right here, but these are for the silage bunk, because they're the end unloading ones, and then these are primarily for the harvest doors and stave silage right there, because as you can see they've got the side door dump. So, and that's why I've got them separated, because they do different things, and yeah, they work like a dream. Then at the very back of the dairy farm, we've got our freestall right here and our slurry tanker out here by the fence. If we come in the freestall, you can see we've got there's 70 head of dairy cattle in here. They're all spaced out in this decent sized freestall. And then we've got the milking parlor up there, and yeah, everything else works like you'd expect it to. The feeding lanes on this side, and then we've got the milk and office area right here. Right there's the milking room. And then on this side we've got another feed room, and then our silage room is down here, where we can you know, unload the harvest store and stave silo to fill up the feed mixer with feed. And then in here we've got our newborn calves in the office to keep them warm, keep them fed, and give them medicine. Keep an eye on these little guys in here. So that is this side of the farm. Obviously we've got a diesel tank and a little 3-sided shed with a few pieces of equipment in it. Well, a few pieces of equipment. We've got our pallet forks for the John Deere and some bell spikes. We've got the dual spike, and then we've also got the one with a back on it. And then here's our blower for the silo, also sitting in the back over here. And then last but not least, we do have our silage bunk over here, and then our manure spreader sitting over here. Usually we'll pile up a lot of our extra manure right here in the grass, and we'll just kind of fill it into the spreader and take it off. Or we'll have machinery sitting out here. There's a lot of just open space where we'll store machinery at. But here is our harvest store and stave silo set up right here. Usually we will put corn silage in this silo right here, and haylage in the stave silo, just to kind of keep them separated. We usually don't mix them up. Corn goes in this one, grass goes in this one. And then we've really only ever put corn silage in this bunk right here. And as you can see, the hay shed, the stave silos, and the bunk are all empty. So before this year runs out and it gets too cold outside to do anything, we need to get hay made, we need to get corn chopped, and we need to get silage made to feed these guys. By these guys, I mean every head of dairy cattle on this farm. So, with that in mind, there's the farm tour. It's a very nice dairy. I know the whole thing like the back of my hand. But before we get a little too sidetracked, I think it's probably a good idea we head to the hay shed over here and fire up the John Deere, and we take it and we get this alfalfa out of the field, because it definitely needs to be cut. And I haven't exactly decided if we are going to do hay bales or grass bales out of this field, but I guess we'll figure it out when we get here. So we'll go ahead and fire it up, and we'll pull this out of the shed and get ready to head to the field, which, don't worry, it's not a far drive at all. It's just a few miles down the road. And by road, I mean this little dirt road that's right here next to the farm. And I think this will be our last cutting of the year. I could be mistaken, because we actually have gotten a cutting in very, very early November a few years ago, which is pretty crazy if you ask me. So, but yeah, a few miles down the road, like I said, here's the field. So we will get this mower unfolded and we will start cutting away. Before we actually turn the mower on, I think I should hop out and check this crop out. It does have a few weeds here and there, but for the most part, this is some of the best looking alfalfa we've ever had on the farm in a good while. Somehow the third cutting of this stuff, or well, this actually might just be the second cutting of alfalfa. I know we've gotten 3 cuttings off of our downward hayfields over there next to the creek, but this should be the second cutting of alfalfa, I believe. And it looks, oh man, does it look good. So we'll hop back in the cab and we will get this going. Make sure I got everything set up right. We should be good to drop it down and turn it on, and there we go. I'm actually really excited to see what the yield is going to be off this field, and see how many bales we get out of this field, because this is not only thick, but it's pretty tall too. This is a very nice alfalfa crop, and I would even say that it's the perfect weather condition outside to be out here cutting it. I mean, it is a little early in the morning, so the dew could be a little high, but it doesn't seem to be. It seems like the actual perfect weather conditions to be out here. You got to be a little slow going over this waterway right here. It is a little steep, but this Vermeer mower handles it no problem. And actually, speaking of Vermeer, this is a fairly new mower also. I forgot to mention it at the farm, but we haven't had this mower for too awfully long, and we used to run mostly all Vermeer a few years ago, and then the dealership that was here moved away pretty far, a few counties over, and it got replaced with a Kubota dealership, and they had some pretty nice haying equipment, so we ended up getting a Kubota round baler and a Kubota rake and a Kubota mower. And we had some odd tedder. I can't remember what we had. And actually, I'm not even too sure where the tedder is right now, but it's not the same one we had. It's a different one and definitely a lot bigger. But we hardly ever use it because we usually just cut hay and chop it with the forage harvester, or we'll make grass bales. So this is the first time we're going to be making alfalfa hay in a little while, because I'm pretty sure we just green baled it last time we chopped alfalfa, or the last time we cut alfalfa. But we've also done a lot of stuff recently, so I could be forgetting. But this mower will absolutely eat. It is humongous, by the way. We cut plenty of acres of hay, so I'm pretty sure you guys knew that right away from the size of this mower. But yeah, we did need a bigger mower, so we had to go with a large upgrade. And this was worth the money, I'll tell you. It had a very hefty price tag, but it was worth every cent in my opinion. And this 8110 just pulls it like a dream. Absolutely no struggle uphill at all whatsoever. I mean, you can see for yourself, we're running 14, almost 15 miles an hour with this mower, and it just absolutely eats too. Nothing is stopping this. Careful over the waterway. Before long, we're gonna have to start, just planting around that waterway, because it's getting pretty steep right there in that bottom corner especially. And also, I forgot that this field used to be strictly row cropping. I remember we did corn, soybeans over and over again on this field for a few years there, and we would always harvest this field for, like a cash crop. We'd never chop silage off of it. We'd throw the combine on it in October and get the corn off. And then one year we decided to plant some kind of grass mixture seed into the corn stubble. And it grew up so well in this field that we just decided to plow it all under the next year and reseed. And then we started experimenting with some rye and then some just totally odd grass seed, some oat seed. And then we started putting alfalfa on it, and it did really well. So we've been growing alfalfa, and I think it's just some kind of winter rye mix out of this field, and it has done super well for us. So I guess this is kind of our hay and only field. But if you ask me, I would tell you that this is an absolutely slick setup right here. I'm one who always loves cutting hay or alfalfa or anything like this, and so I'm a little sad that this is one of our last cuttings of the year. But like I said, who knows? Could get one more cutting off. Alright, so I think 3 headland passes is going to cut it. Now let's go ahead and open this field up. And I think GPS is the way to go on this field. Or do you see a green star system on this tractor? I'm about to eyeball this field and get it all cut, and you're never going to see straighter lines in your life. Knock on wood though, because I'd really like these field edges to be straight. And if you hear any GPS noises, that's probably just in your head. But one thing that is true about this mower is the work width. I mean, you can put your tires just where you stopped mowing at the last pass, and it will absolutely clean this field out. I can't even remember what the work width on this mower is. It might be like almost 20 feet, like 16, 17 feet, something like that. It is pretty enormous. But I think we go ahead and clean this field up real fast. I think a time lapse will do just fine on this field. We'll get all this alfalfa knocked down, and then I'll catch up with you guys as soon as we get it done, and we will start our next task of the day. So I will see you guys in just a second. Okay, so we are now done with this field. We got the whole thing cut and wrapped up. We'll just come out through here and look at this stuff. I mean, it's very thick on the ground. It is a little bit wet, so I am debating throwing the merger on it right now and just kind of go ahead and getting this stuff up a little bit, leaving it to dry in the windrows. I don't know. I'll see about it. Because I know I said earlier that the dew was bad, but no, even for it to be 12 o'clock, I mean, it's really kind of dry out here. We do have some rain on the way, though, so if we go ahead and get this up, I'd like to, be kind of fast with it. But I'm not totally sure. I'll have to, sit down and think about it for a little bit. So now we will just take this rig back to the farm, park it in the shed, and that's the alfalfa crop done and dusted. Went really smooth, actually. I mean, everything apart from the strange cutting pattern that I decided to go in this time, which is definitely a little different from what I'm used to, because this mower you can't really swing it around either direction. It's a little strange. But we are going to park this thing over here out of the way instead of in front of the baler. And then I guess we'll just cut it off right here. And you know what, actually, I think we're going to go ahead and run the merger on some of this stuff, get it up a little bit. And I think we're just going to use the Magnum to do it today. I mean, after all, we are right here. So we'll just hook it up and we'll pull it out, and I guess we'll go ahead and get to work. Because I kind of feel like I'm just going to make alfalfa bales we can feed the cattle with. I don't exactly know if I'm going to use them in the feed mixer. So this could be hay that we put in the pasture, or it could be some bales we sell. But I don't think I want to put it in the forage wagon and for rations. But I don't know. We'll see. I think I probably want to go ahead and get this stuff up while it's wet. Maybe that's just me, but I think it would definitely be I think it'd be better for it. I don't know. I could be mistaken. And I think for this, we're just going to set the mow to the middle so it'll do just like a rake and push it all towards the middle. Make one nice windrow in the center. And usually whenever we chop for, haylage with the forage harvester, we'll push it either to the right side or the left side and we'll make a bigger row so that we have to make less passes with the forage harvester. And I will say sometimes it's maybe less passes with the merger in the field. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but it definitely seems like it. But this is one of my favorite setups to run on the farm. I absolutely love running the merger. Usually we use the Agco Alice, so it's a little strange that we're using this two-wheel drive tractor, but I figured it'd work perfectly since it was right there. And I just wanted to run the case today. I'm feeling a little different. Hopefully it won't struggle too much on this waterway right in here, which we do have to be very careful over. But like I said earlier, this thing does work like a dream. I absolutely love this merger. But this is some pretty thick stuff, I can't lie. Seems like we got a fairly good yield out of this entire field. And this tractor is having a little bit of a hard time pulling it up this hill. And also, don't worry, I'm intentionally missing this little piece we cut right here because it had a lot of weeds in it. And it wasn't alfalfa, it was some of this grass on the side, so I'm trying to keep the two crops separate to keep it, a little more hassle-free. Because I remember we baled some alfalfa a few years back where we cut a lot of weeds in it. And somehow some of the cows ended up getting sick because there were some weeds in the bales. So it looked about like this did right here. So we're trying to keep that out of the row. And man, this field's bumpy right here. I don't know if it's because we've tore it up with the forage harvester chopping this field or what, but some serious ruts are going on. The tractor's bouncing all over the place. But hopefully this stuff won't grow back a whole lot. It'll kind of stay, stubbly like this. And then we can throw some manure on here and hopefully plow it under before this year's over with. Around fall harvest, when we get all of our soybeans and corn knocked out, we'll throw manure and spread some slurry on all these fields, and then we'll plow them under. And I guess we'll reseed for the next year so we can get an even better crop out of these fields. Just do a little bit of no-tilling, maybe some more alfalfa in this field, some hay mixtures on the other. And then, I'd call it a day. And we'll see how that does. But for right now, I hope it stays kind of like this. And it's very dusty and dry on the ground. I just now noticed that. I'm seeing a lot more dirt coming through the alfalfa stubble, so I don't know if that means something or if we should just re-drill it. I'm not totally sure what that means, but this year wasn't really a wet year for us, and it also wasn't a dry year, so it's definitely not because of any drought. But you guys can probably see it too. I can see a lot of dirt through the stubble, so then we'll just pick it up and make this turn right here, because that was going to be a little bit of a challenging corner to try and get in one turn. So another reason I like this merger is because it's very what is the word? It's very agile. You can turn pretty sharp with it. I know they make some mergers where the back tires will like turn with you, which is pretty slick. This one does not, but it still has a very tight turning radius, and I really like that because it makes corners like that behind us very easy to navigate. But I think 2 headland passes are gonna just about do it. We'll start going up and down the field, make this a little easier when we're baling the hay. I guess it's not actually hay if it's still wet like it is, but either way, we're gonna knock this field out, and I think we're gonna call it a day here. We do have a bunch of corn that's ready to be ran through the forage harvester, so I think that's going to be our next task. But as far as this video goes, I think that's all we're going to be doing today. Just an introduction to the farm, getting to know the farm, showing off some of the equipment, some of the fields. But do not worry, you guys, there's going to be so much on the way. And so with that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one.